Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. If you've not watched part 1 of this series, I suggest you go watch it. I will link it down below. How likely are you to actually pull your chase from Scarlet Violet sets? In part 1, we looked at Scarlet Violet base, Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames, 151, Paradox Rift, Paldean Fates, and we are on to Temporal Forces now. So we've already seen the trend that pull rates from Scarlet Violet are getting worse and worse and worse. Let's have a look at the top 4 cards from Temporal Forces. I'll put my collector screen grabs right here in the middle. Raging Bolt EX SIR is the top card in the set. Top 4 cards of the set are all SIRs. So hopefully pulling an SIR is not too crazy. Let's have a look. Pokemon has released a new rarity in Temporal Forces. We are starting to see Ace-Spec cards. Ace-Spec cards will replace the first reverse holo that you get in a pack, which means, again, we have chances of pulling 3 hits from 1 pack. So 1 in 6 for a double rare is actually not that bad, but as you can see, the prices of these cards are very, very low. They're easy to pull. There's a lot of them going around, but 1 in 6 is okay. I mean, for a $9 pack, maybe not, I don't know. 1 in 15 packs for an ultra rare. We're starting to see some more popular ultra rares pop up, kind of like this full art Gengar here, which a lot of people really wanted to pull. Because there are 18 ultra rares in Temporal Forces, your chances of pulling said Gengar, for example, are 1 in 270 packs. So Ace-Spec cards, the new rarity, 1 in 20 is interesting. For people who play the game, Ace-Spec cards are like a good asset to your deck, but for collectors, I'm finding that they're not actually very popular. However, they didn't replace anything with Ace-Specs, so the fact that we still have illustration rares and ultra rares and double rares, and now additionally Ace-Spec cards, they're not taking away anything from the set by adding these in, but again, not as popular. Illustration rares. The illustration rares in Temporal Forces were really, really nice. And they released 22 of them, especially when the artwork looks this nice. 1 in 13 is not bad for an illustration rare. So your chances of pulling one that you want in particular is a 1 in 285 chance. So with the top 4 cards of the set being special illustration rares, let's have a look at what your chances are of actually pulling one is. That's really bad. So far in Scarlet Violet, this is the absolute worst. 1 in 86. It's just really sad to see, honestly. Just like, why? They only released 10 SIRs in Temporal Forces, but they made them absolutely absurd to pull. To get the top card out of Temporal Forces, you might have to open 855 packs to get it. Keep in mind the chase of Temporal Forces is less than $150 Canadian. Also, the worst pull rates we've seen so far, 1 in 139 packs to pull a hyper rare. My recommendation for Temporal Forces, open packs to see what the set is all about, but after that, do not open anymore. Go to a card store and buy the cards that you want. Do not try to pull them. Don't do it. I mean, do it if you want to, but don't do it. Let's move along to Twilight Masquerade. Will Twilight Masquerade be any better? Here are the top 4 cards of Twilight Masquerade. You can see that the chase has a huge bump in value here. We have 3 SIRs dominating the top 3, and then we have this gorgeous Eevee illustration rare. I know the Eevee for a lot of people was their chase, so let's have a look at what pull rates actually look like. All the rarities are the same. We still have Ace-Specs, double rares, ultra rares, SIRs, illustration rares, and hyper rares. Everything is the same. They're 2 cards off also from being identical in size. So what's the difference between the pull rates? Okay, double rares, 1 in 6. Again, not too surprised. The prices of these double rares are valued a little bit higher. I think that's probably because the Pokemon on them are more popular. Ultra rares, again, 1 in 15 chance. Ace-Spec cards, again, 1 in 20. Market value is still very low. Collectibles wise, they're not catching on yet. So illustration rares, 1 in 13. Illustration rares, I feel, are just like absolutely saving Scarlet Violet right now. I know that's a little controversial to say, but like the other rarity types are either extremely difficult to pull or not very popular. Illustration rares are really lovely, the artwork is nice, and you have a decent chance of pulling one. Yes, however, going for a chase of an illustration rare will be difficult. We know that English sets are usually an amalgamation of at least 2 or 3 Japanese sets, so there are going to be plenty of illustration rares per English set. In this case, we have 21 illustration rares with Twilight Masquerade. Let's move along to special illustration rares. Okay. Okay, 1 in 86 packs, the same as Temporal Forces, equally as horrible. Temporal Forces has 10 SIRs, Twilight Masquerade has 11, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when it takes 86 packs to pull one, your chances of pulling the chase has just gone up by 86 packs. To pull the chase out of Twilight Masquerade is 941 packs. If you actually think you're going to pull a chase out of these sets, just be careful. There are maybe better sets to be opening, right? That's all I'm saying. This is awful. So moving along to hyper rares, 1 in 146. So this is the worst pull rate of any rarity out of any set we've seen in Scarlet Violet so far. So let's move away from those 2 sets. We're starting off really bad here. Can Shrouded Fable do literally any better? Let's have a look. Top 4 cards of Shrouded Fable, Screengrabs from COLLECTR. Not the most popular Scarlet and Violet set. The top 4 cards of the set are all sitting less than $70 Canadian. And the rarity types are actually kind of all over the place here. We have an SIR sitting at the top. We actually have a hyper rare here, which is interesting. We have the illustration rare Persian. Gorgeous artwork. It's a Gen 1 Pokemon. Not surprised to see it's a chase here. And in spot number 4, we have another SIR. Okay, this website is not as thorough as TCG Player, but let's see what they have to say here. So EX cards, so the double rares, still 1 in 6. Ace spec cards, again, 1 in 20. Nothing has changed. Okay, for ultra rares, we have 1 in 15. That is also the same. Illustration rares, 1 in 12. Slightly better than the last 2 sets that we've seen, which were 1 in 13. Special illustration rares, we're looking kind of a little bit better. We have a 1 in 67 chance to pull any special illustration rare out of Shrouded Fable. And to pull the chase of the set, we're looking at 1 in 335 packs. It's a smaller set, there are fewer SIRs, which means you're more likely to pull the one that you want if you were to pull one. So better. It's better. We're doing better. Hyper rares, okay, still horrible. 1 in 144 packs. So Shrouded Fable, the chase is not as highly valued, but chances to pull it are definitely way more likely than some of the previous sets. So if you really want that Pheasantipity EX chase, you know what? It wouldn't be the craziest thing to try to go for it. You know, you have to consider too, you're gonna spend all that money trying to pull your chase. What if you pull it and it's off center? What if you pull it and there's a ding in the corner? What if you pull it and there are print lines? You know, to be able to go to a store and examine the card and get one that's totally near mint, pack fresh, it's just something to consider, you know? I don't know. Guys, do whatever you want to do. I'm just trying to give you information. Stellar Crown is next. Let's have a look at the top 4 cards from Stellar Crown. We have 2 illustration rares and 2 SIRs. Things are starting to change up in Stellar Crown. We're still looking at a smaller set from Twilight Masquerade Temporal Forces, meaning your odds of pulling a specific card that you want are higher. Double rares. So still 1 in 6. However, the artwork on these double rares has changed, as you can see. We're leaning into the rainbow crystal type of artwork. In my opinion, these are aesthetically more pleasing than some of the other double rares we've seen. Pulling one of these, like the Lapras, like this is probably the first double rare that I'd be kind of excited to pull. It just looks nice. It's cool. I like it. Okay, ultra rares, 1 in 15. So we're starting to see ultra rares in a different style as well. We have these beautiful rainbow, kind of like full art, shiny type of vibe cards. When you pull something like this Lapras EX, it really feels like a hit. Ace spec cards. Not really much happening here. Still fairly unpopular, still 1 in 20. so let's move along. Illustration rares, 1 in 13. But get this, there are only 13 illustration rares in Stellar Crown. So the chances of pulling one that you want is actually not crazy, especially when you have 2 illustration rares within the top 4 cards of the set. 1 in 167. That is the best chance of pulling a chase from a set that we've seen so far in all of Scarlet Violet. Good job, Stellar Crown. Finally, will SIRs be just as nice to us? No, they won't. 1 in 90. However, there are only 6 SIRs in Stellar Crown, which means that if you do pull one, you have a 1 in 6 chance of pulling the one that you want. Hyper rares, still absurd, 1 in 137 packs. If you really want the SIRs, it's gonna be tricky. If you consider the IRs as your chase, much, much better. Okay, we have 3 more sets to go. Surging Sparks is the next. Let's get the top 4 hits on screen. We have a beautiful Pikachu EX SIR at the top, sitting at around $400 Canadian right now. The next 2 down the line are also SIRs, and then we actually have a hyper rare over there in the corner. Let's have a little bit of a closer look though. Main difference, we now have a much larger card list. Let's have a look. Double rares, we're looking at a 1 in 6. Again, ultra rares, again, 1 in 15. Not much has changed here. A-Spec, 1 in 20. Still kind of, they're just hanging around. Okay, moving down to illustration rares, 1 in 13 again. There are 23 illustration rares in Surging Sparks, so much more compared to Stellar Crown, but still a 1 in 13 chance. However, because there are more of them, your odds of pulling a specific one are now 1 in 300. This is where everything goes really downhill for Surging Sparks, honestly. I feel like if it wasn't for this, we'd be looking pretty good here with pull rates. Special illustration rares, 1 in 90 is really bad. So in Surging Sparks, there are 11 SIRs. When you have a 1 in 90 pack chance to pull an SIR, your chances of pulling the one that you want specifically is 1 in 960 packs. So just really think about that. It gets worse. Hyper rares, the worst we've seen so far in all of Scarlet Violet. 1 in 188 packs. So obviously a big chase out of Surging Sparks, and your chances of pulling it are 1 in 960. You have almost twice the amount of chance to pull the Mew SIR from Paldean Fates, which is also a $400 card. All right, well, we have a nice fun one next. So let's have a look at the top 4 cards of Prismatic Evolutions. It's no surprise that they're all evolutions and they're all SIRs. If you've opened Prismatic Evolutions or watched other people open it, you would know that the pull rates in general are very, very abysmal. Why don't we go ahead and have a look at why that might be? So here's what is going on. There are 2 new rarity types in Prismatic Evolutions. We have reverse hollow Pokeballs and we have reverse hollow Master Balls, and there are no illustration rares in Prismatic. The size of the set is massive with these new rarity types. Pulling a specific card is going to be really tricky. This is the 2nd English set in Scarlet Violet where you have a chance of getting God packs. There are 2 types of God packs in Prismatic Evolutions. There's a Demigod pack where you get 3 SIRs at the back of your pack, and then there's like an epic Overlord God pack where you get one of every evolution SIR plus an EV Master Ball. First and foremost, the Pokeball reverse hollow foils, 1 in 3. That feels about right. Keep in mind, you're more likely to pull commons and uncommons with a Pokeball reverse hollow than the rares, because there are way fewer rares than there are commons and uncommons. And that's gonna go for the Master Ball reverse hollows too. Double rares, 1 in 6. So actually, there are some really nice looking double rares in here. We have Gen 1, 2 Pokemon. So ultra rares, still the same, 1 in 13. The only difference is that all of the ultra rares in Prismatic Evolutions are trainers. They're all full art trainers, and there are 12 of them. You might see a lot of them if you're ripping packs and ripping packs and ripping packs. A-Spec, we have 1 in 21 now. Nothing really going on with the A-Specs yet. Still kind of hard to pull. Still kind of underwhelming. So 1 in 20 for a Master Ball foil. All 67 commons, uncommons, and rares have a Master Ball foil pattern at around 1 in 20 packs. To pull a specific one is looking pretty tricky there. Okay, so this is kind of what we're looking at here for special illustration rares. So as you can see, Pokemon kind of actually made the pull rates for SIRs better. We have 1 in 45. Surging Sparks was 1 in 90. Definitely better pull rates than the last huge chunk of sets that we've looked at. But there are 32 SIRs in Prismatic Evolutions. That is a lot. That's almost double than most of the sets in Scarlet Violet. Out of 32 SIRs, 9 of them are evolutions. Which means while your chances of pulling an SIR are a lot better than some of the previous sets we've just looked at, your chances of pulling one in particular are 1 in 1,440 packs. When we go down to hyper rares, we have 1 in 180, so again, super hard to pull. The Umbreon EX SIR from Prismatic Evolutions is the top card out of the entire era of Scarlet Violet so far, but to potentially have to open almost 1,500 packs to get it, yeah. Let's move along to Journey Together, which is the last set in this series. Let's get the collector screen grabs on screen. We have 4 SIRs as the top 4 hits in the set, the top one being Lily's Clefairy EX. Something to keep in mind, Journey Together is a smaller set. No more Ace Specs. Ace Specs are gone, illustration rares are back. No Pokeball reverses, no Master Ball reverses. Let's have a look. Double rares, 1 in 5. Hey, we're actually at 1 in 5. Ultra rare, hanging in at that 1 in 15. The ultra rares really do not waver at all. Really nice to see like trainer artwork on the ultra rares. This is something we haven't seen in a long time from Pokemon. Illustration rares, we have some utterly beautiful ones in Journey Together. And your chances of pulling one are 1 in 12, down from 1 in 13. Good news, there are only 11 illustration rares in Journey Together, so if you're wanting that Articuno, for example, you're looking at around 1 in 129 packs. So special illustration rares. So here's the thing. Special illustration rares are back up at a nasty hit rate. We have 1 in 86 packs. Now keep in mind though, there were 32 SIRs in Prismatic Evolutions. In Journey Together, there are only 6. That is insane. If you do pull one, you have a 1 in 6 chance of pulling the one you want the most, which is better than 1 in 32. Not sure why, but hyper rares are getting a little easier to pull. 1 in 137 packs. So Journey Together is a weird one. Remember, this set is brand new, it's hyped up, the value of these cards is gonna come down. I know how fun it is to pull a chase out of a set, but I also know the feeling of wasting lots of money ripping packs and then kind of maybe regretting it later. So if you're going to rip packs for a chase, it is a good idea to just do a little bit of research beforehand. Ripping packs, going for a chase, opening product, this is all very subjective. As a collector, you can do whatever you want to do to build the collection of your dreams. Go for it. Just make sure you're making informed decisions. If you guys want me to do this for any other era of Pokemon, do let me know down in the comments below. I actually am just on my own now, quite curious about Sword and Shield. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have a Discord, I'd love to have you on my Discord as well, link down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.